I use Stevie Wonder as an inspiration, whom I look up to a great deal. I used him as a role model in trying to play all the instruments and be very self-contained and keep my vision clear. So word spread very quickly about what I could do.
When it came to songwriting, the late Prince Rogers Nelson took a deeply artistic approach. Quote, "Sometimes I hear a melody in my head," he told Guitar Magazine in 1998, "and it seems like the first color in a painting," unquote. This, of course, coming from an artist who produced, composed, arranged, and performed the vast majority of his music.
The past and the present merge to meet us here.
But what happens when there are 15 songwriters credited on one song, as there is in the writing of Hold Up, a single on Beyonce's new visual album, Lemonade, which debuted April 23rd on HBO? Is a song written with so much outside involvement still worthy of as much artistic praise? And does the reliance on so many writers signal the near death of the truly independent singer-songwriter? That's part of a conversation raging on social media, as some commenters criticize Beyonce for employing more than 60 songwriters on her latest album. For example, on the second song on the album, Hold Up, Beyonce issues credits to 2 producers and 14 other songwriters. She received credit as both a songwriter and producer on the song, as she did on most of the rest of the album. Some have lamented her use of so many songwriters. Quote, "Beyonce and Rihanna are the queens of hiring songwriters," one Twitter user says. Quote, "I know it's Beyonce's world, we just live in it. But does anyone else roll their eyes when they see 13 people listed as songwriters? Come on," said another. But is it fair to criticize only Beyonce? Part of this trend of issuing so many songwriting credits has a bit to do with the fact that so many musicians today use samples, musical snippets of other musicians' work. Also, in the aftermath of lawsuits centering around issuing credits for sampling and collaboration, today's artists are vigilant about issuing these credits. In today's hyper-competitive music industry, Beyonce isn't the only performer who relies on the writing and sampling of the music of others. In fact, Kanye West, a skilled lyricist who relies heavily on samples and has reportedly used ghostwriters for some of his raps.
I ask, 'cause I'm not sure, do anybody make real anymore? Bad when the presence of greatness.
Credited some 100 writers for his album, Life of Pablo, and Rihanna used more than 25 on her last album.
What can I say? Please recognize I'm trying, baby.
And Justin Bieber used more than 40 on his.
What do you mean?
However, singer-songwriter Taylor Swift used no more than 2 additional writers on each song on her album 1989, according to the album's track listing. Similarly, Michael Jackson didn't master any instruments, but he taught his band members how to play the music he heard by singing each part to them, note for note.
More kicking stuff in the phones, I need her. She called my name, then you said hello. Oh, then I'm done. Gotta say, gotta go.
This was the formula and process he used to write Billie Jean, among many other songs. Jackson was the only credited songwriter on 4 of the 9 songs on his famous Thriller album, produced by Quincy Jones. Only 5 other songwriters worked on the album, and no song had more than 2 writers. Still, Beyonce and her practice of making songwriting a group effort does have supporters. Vanity Fair writer James S. Murphy argues that, quote, "Art has rarely, if ever, been the product of isolated genius," unquote, adding that criticizing her on this basis is ignorant and, quote, "probably racist," unquote. And despite the criticism, Beyonce's Lemonade has had big impact. Initially offered exclusively on Tidal, the streaming service she owns with her husband Jay-Z and 21 other artists, her album and the albums of Prince, which also can be streamed on Tidal, have helped Tidal add more than 1 million subscribers since last week, Tidal says.